Hello everybody and welcome to Tech Talk Thursday. Don't adjust your screens. I haven't gone crazy. Today we're talking about audio, and this is why we've got a bunch of microphones all spread around us. We are going to go through, I think, 8 or 9 different microphones to help you work through what particular microphones would be suitable for you if you want to level up your audio on Zoom and various other things. And obviously, we have a bunch of microphones to go through today. Martin McKenna, my co-host, has also got a few microphones clipped to himself and around his desk. So let's bring Martin on. Hello, Martin. How's it going?
Good evening, folks. Welcome to sunny Edinburgh, where it is sunny today for a change.
Oh, wonderful. It's been pouring down all day today here. So bravo.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Good.
Yeah. So it's about time you had some rain.
It is.
But yeah, I've been plugging in various microphones as well, and we will. The interesting thing about all of this is when we're talking to you, everything sounds the same, but when we watch the replay, everything's going to sound different. So the whole point of this microphone thing really is that you have no idea what you sound like when you're on Teams or Zoom or a live show until you watch the replay. But there's a good chance that you don't sound like we're sounding right at this moment. You probably sound like one of the other microphones. But Neil has even more than me, but I've got 4 here.
Good. Well, I think I got 6 that I'm going to play with today, and I wanted to obviously take you through these various ones. There might be slightly different levels in the sound, and I might be slightly out of sync with some of them as well, because I've got a lot of stuff plugged into this Mac. I'm surprised it's actually still running as well. A couple of people have joined already. Hello, Saeed. Welcome to sunny Germany. Oh, Modor. Okay. And Val, thank you for joining us. If you're interested in audio, this is the place to be. So we should just crack on, basically, and get through these. So Martin is going to go and switch over his microphone, and this might be something that you're more than aware of when you hear how he sounds. So let's get on with it.
No, I've switched microphone. So now I'm on the Meet SE, which is going to sound really terrible. So no doubt Valerie is cringing because she's a professional musician. But the Meet SE is a tiny little webcam. It's an excellent webcam. But this might be what you're sounding like when you are on your calls. And I don't want to be sitting doing this any longer than that. So swap me to a different microphone.
Yes, indeed. And Val has already said, ooh. There you go. So it's not the best. So that's the OBSBot Meet 2. And as you're probably aware, a lot of people will be using a webcam mic because they don't want to have a microphone in front of them. A lot of people wear headset microphones. I used to do that a lot. They weren't the best either, I have to say. But we're going to go through each of these microphones in turn. But obviously, with it being Prime Week as well and all that kind of stuff, every QR code that you can scan and not click is available for you to go and buy. If you want to go and buy the Meet 2 and sound like Martin, go ahead, but the Meet 2 is a great camera. All joking aside, you always pair that with a decent microphone. So I'm going to switch over now and go to another microphone if I can get this to work. So give me a second. I'm going to switch over to me. Let me find it. I've got to do a lot of switching here to get this working. Okay. All right. So if you can hear me now, I'm actually on the for fine microphone. Now, I can't hear what that sounds like, but I can tell you just from
Loud.
testing before. Oh, it's loud. Okay, I'll turn it down then. I can. Sorry. Okay, is that better? I think the mix is not as loud now. Okay, a little bit better. I told you it was going to be differences in the sound levels. What you probably hear in the background is a lot of hiss. Sorry about that. Jump scare indeed. Yeah, I'm making everybody frightened here at the moment. It's hard to normalize all these different types of microphones, but I'm doing my best. So this is a Fifine microphone. It's one of the cheapest microphones we've got at the moment on this list. I think it retails for around sort of $50 or $60. It's a gamer microphone because you can see it's got like all these lovely sort of different bells and whistles, and you can change the colors and do all that kind of fun stuff with it and change that. But it's basically a USB microphone. It's also got an XLR connector as well in the back. The interesting thing about it is it was really just put out there a long time ago as a cheap alternative to some of the larger diaphragm capacitor microphones. And it's really, I think it's stood up pretty well against expensive microphones. And if you can do some EQ, if you can get it to sound decent with some compression and a little bit of finagling with the EQ and everything else, then I think it'll sound pretty decent. I haven't done anything to this microphone apart from blow everybody's ears away with the volume. That's all I did to make it a little bit louder because it is quite quiet. I do find that USB microphones are more quieter than XLR-based microphones, and we'll talk about those interfaces a little bit later. But anyway, this is one of the cheapest microphones on the list. It's the Fifine AM8, and Valerie says that Fifine much better. I'm not wearing headphones, so don't need a hiss. Sounds more mid-rangey in your voice. Yeah, and I'll explain the one I was on when I started the call as well. But that's the Fifine. You can scan that QR code if you want. The next one we're going to move over to is one of Martin's microphones. So Martin, over to you.
Right, so we're all flicking between multiple microphones and muting and unmuting here at the moment. So now I'm on a wireless microphone called the Holyland Lark Mark IIS, and the amazing thing about it is this is the microphone just here. It's smaller than my shirt button, and it just sits behind on a little clip, and it's, you know, the rear side of the clip is about the size of a 1p piece, so a penny, but the front side of the clip is smaller than my shirt button and totally wireless. So it comes in a set of 2 as well. So if I'm sitting here and I've got another colleague sitting next to me, we can just sit down, put on this little microphone, and we can get pretty decent quality sound out of it with no wires whatsoever. It's literally plug and play. So there's a USB type receiver that you plug into your Mac in my particular case, and it just connects up automatically. So if you're out on the road or something like that, this is a fantastic way of carrying your 2 microphones around. So this is the little carrying case that they come in, and charging case. That's it. That's all you need to take with you. I've been watching a couple of people who are on the road doing interview type shows of people, and they're carting around loads of microphones and wires and stands and all sorts of things with them, and they could just be carrying this. That's all you need to get a decent quality out of it. So I'd be interested to hear again, what do people think of these in terms of sound?
I mean, I think it sounds pretty good.
I'm trying not to shuffle too much. Maybe you wear too much of those sparkly dresses with the noisy bits all over them, Valerie. That's the problem, you see. I'm just here in my casual linen shirt, no sequins involved, so I don't get that sort of shaky sound.
Saeed is asking, how large is the receiver, the USB dongle? Asking for a laptop users with USB ports close to each other.
It is a funny shape. It's kind of T-shaped, so, and it's T-shaped across the way, which could be really awkward if you've got a bunch of ports which are sitting right in order next to one another. But you could get one of these tiny little extenders, which is a little cable So you plug it in, there's a little flexible cable, and then you plug it into the end of it. That's the way I would get around that. So I've got one.
Yeah, I was going to recommend that.
Yeah.
And Saeed, if you look, yeah,
This type of thing, something like, so you're just giving yourself a little bit of distance. But yeah, a very good point, Saeed. I think from a design perspective, it could be a pain in the butt. I think I'm all right just because of the way my ports are lined up, but that's just luck more than judgment.
and if you look at the image, Saeed,
the other thing
on the top, by the way, sorry, real quick, that you can see the T
Yeah.
dongle in the image itself there.
Yeah. So the other thing about this, of course, is because it's wireless, I can be moving around the room and it's not going to change at all the sort of sound you're going to hear. So if you're the sort of person who moves around the room or the stage a lot or something like that, that's a secondary reason to have this sort of microphone. A lot of people use them with phones and things as well. So if they're outside doing things, or you're at a conference or interviewing somebody, that type of thing, this can be a really easy solution. And again, it's not that expensive, about £75-ish, so about roughly $100. There are various different versions of these in this series from Hollyland. This is the newest one, so I'm kind of assuming it's the best one. It's also definitely the smallest profile one because it literally is invisible against my shirt. The other ones, because even though they're just like the size of a penny, they're a bit bigger than the previous ones prior to that, were more like, I don't know, half a matchbox size, sort of with a clip and it sort of clipped on, more like the original Rode type ones, which I never really got on very well with. So these ones seem to be absolutely excellent. The only thing that I got caught out was when I originally bought it, I was thinking, I can't get these to work. I can't get these to work. Then I realised there was a fine piece of blue plastic protecting all of the contacts under the charging layer, which I hadn't taken off, which would explain why nothing much was happening. Look out for that bit of blue plastic.
Marianne, I know that you have these as well, and she loves her Hollyland. I've got the older ones. I've got the Lark M2s, which are the small penny-shaped ones that Martin mentioned. And I was just curious because Insta360 have brought out a microphone as well, a wireless set of microphones, similar to Rode and everybody else. And what was interesting about them is they were quite large. So I commented on somebody's video and they said, well, it's not that large. I don't believe it's that big at all. And they were. They're very noticeable. It's like having this big disc right here. And I think it's a bit much, personally. I love the form factor of those HoloLand M2Ss. And if I'd waited for them to come out, I would have bought those instead of the other ones. But either way, the HoloLand quality is really good. And you sound very, very good. Like no sort of background noise that I can hear too much or anything like that. So yeah, they're a good deal, and I'm sure there's a deal on them right now. So if you haven't got them and you want to get them, scan that QR code. You know what to do. All right, well, thanks for that, Martin. Anything else with those? The dongle, by the way, you can use it with both the phone and your machine, can't you? So it's a dual purpose as well, which is
Correct.
Great.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And did you have the one with the camera kit? Because the one that also comes with a camera kit, which is a small dongle that fits on the camera's cold shoe and then plugs into the microphone input. So if you want to use it for a remote camera microphone, you can do that as well with that particular dongle, which is the one that's in the picture as well. But that's a different kit, I think.
Do you know, I think that's a different kit. The other thing that I haven't tried yet, but I did think, I might try this, is plugging it into my iPad and then see if I could live stream via Camo.
You probably could.
From the iPad, and do that either in the house or wandering around the garden, looking at the octagonal greenhouse,
Live stream on that.
updating the world on that. But I thought that might be a really good use for them as well, combined with an iPad. So I'll give that a go at some point or other.
Fantastic. Well, I'm going to get rid of this. This might blow up my mic by taking ports out, but we don't need this anymore. So we got rid of that. That was the Fifine AM8. I'm going to go to the next microphone now, which is the one I started with, which is another Fifine microphone. I didn't buy this one, by the way. Fifine sent it to me because they gave me an older microphone last year, and I had a lot of complaints about it. One, it wasn't in a shock mount, and every time I gently put my hand on the table, there was this huge, and it was pretty awful. So in terms of shock resistance and noise rejection, it was not very good at all. So this is a little bit more expensive than the AM8. I think this one is about 80 or 90. It comes in a kit as well, so you get an arm. You get obviously the shock mount. This is both USB and XLR. So this particular microphone is connected to my mixer now via XLR. And I don't know about you, I can hear myself in here. I don't think it sounds too bad at all for a relatively cheap dynamic. Well, it's not actually a dynamic microphone. It's a condenser because it needs phantom power. But I think it's a pretty good microphone. It's got good rejection as well. If you go over this side, it really rejects some of the noise. So for a first time microphone that actually has, I think, reasonable bass reproduction and on-axis rejection and things like that, I think it sounds pretty good. I don't know. I've never heard myself with this microphone played back, so I don't know what you're hearing.
I think that's considerably better than the first Fifine microphone, would be my thought on that. It is less mid-rangey,
right,
and it sounds more like the SM7B, which we'll talk about later. But it's certainly, I think that's a really good sound quality. So what's the price on that one then?
I think it's like 80 or 90 pounds, something like that, and it's dual as well, so you don't have to plug it into XLR. I have tested it with USB-C, and it's fine. I mean, it's pretty good. It doesn't come with any software, so I'd recommend that if you are going to use it just on USB-C, then get the Wavelink software from Elgato, which is free, and you can use it with any microphone. It just recognizes any mic, and then you've got all the VST or the AU plugins that you can use to EQ and compress and do anything you want with the sound. So you can really sort of dial this in and get a decent sound with it. There are obviously lots of other microphones out there. We don't have infinite budget. I've just collected together what we have. But this is a particularly good one. It doesn't save any of the settings because obviously it doesn't have any software. But it's very easy to set up and not move it around too much. But it's pretty good. So this is the Fifine K688, a very memorable name. But you can check it out on the links with Amazon and get the full specs of it as well. So I think, Martin, we're going to move over to you now. So if you're ready and been clicking, this is great. I'm glad we're both doing this together, because if I was having to do this on my own and keep switching, it would be a pain. So at least we have a little bit of time to switch between us. So if you're ready, I'll hand over to you.
So I've switched to yet another microphone, and it's funny you should mention software. This one does come with software, and it's a Shure MV88 Plus. It's a tiny, small microphone. It's probably less than the size of a ping pong ball. The actual fuzzy bit at the top is roughly that size, and it's very short in length. So literally, it's something you could fit in your shirt pocket. It's really light, and again, something you could take with you. I've got mine sitting on a swing arm at the moment. I have got the Motive studio software that it comes with, and that allows me to tweak up the gain a little bit on the microphone, because if I don't do that, then the gain is really, really low, and this would be really quiet. So I don't know why you need software to tweak up the gain. It seems fairly ridiculous. It's the only thing that software actually does. It doesn't give me any other options to do any other fancy things at all. It's just manually push up the gain on it. However, I can see from my sound levels that should be very similar to the other microphones sound-wise in terms of volume. I don't know about sound quality. This is in fact the one that I used to use prior to changing to the SM7B. Purely because it was very small in profile, and you could get a very lightweight arm, boom arm for it as well, because it's so lightweight. It doesn't need a heavy duty boom arm to support it, so you can just shove it out of the way very easily, and it works really, really well. The only problem I have had with this, and this happened to me twice, was plugging the cable into the back of the microphone. On two occasions I found that the mount disappeared into the microphone itself, and it's sort of just okay. And I did take the mic apart to have a look at it, and on the PCB, it's really flimsily mounted on with solder, but really lightly. So I thought it must have been me being ham-fisted. So I got another one because I was in a rush, and the same thing happened with that as well. So I then sent both of them back to Shure and complained, and then they sent me 2 brand new ones. It's not happened again since. So I don't know whether they've slightly tweaked the manufacturing process, but the fact that 2 of those both happened to me. So yeah, just watch out for that. If you do get that particular microphone, be careful when you're plugging it in and be a bit gentle, which I am now. It's one of these micro USB type plugs in the back of it as well. So it's an unusual style of wire that's probably not in your box full of millions of wires. It's just a slightly different one that comes with it. But yeah, I still like it and use it occasionally. And again, it can be utilised outside, potentially as well. Although it's not wireless.
It's not wireless, right? That's interesting. I'm just going to turn my volume up a second. It's not wireless, but what's interesting about it is a lot of people do use it for the phone, right? It was originally sort of pitched. It comes with a kit. If people scan the QR code, they'll see that it's an actual those 2 things. One, you can get one with a kit, or you can buy it on its own, and then it comes with a little clip that you can clip to your iPhone and things like that. I have to say, it sounds remarkably good for the size of this microphone. Now, that's just a USB going straight into your Mac, right? And that's basically it.
Correct.
And you've not done any EQing or anything like that. That's just whatever is coming out of the microphone, right?
No, that's exactly it. Yeah, plug and play.
Very nice.
Oh,
all right.
Plug and play once you've put in Motive to up the gain. Otherwise, it'll do nothing. So
that's right. And it's got different pickup patterns as well. That Motive software is a must because it's got 3 different pickup patterns. It's got like a figure of 8, which means that it'll pick up from both ends of the microphone, both sides of the microphone. And then you've got a sort of a directional pattern. And then you've got the gain assist and things like that on there as well. So it really, you can sort of dial in the sounds, but that's one of the microphones, I think, where you, excuse me, you set it and then it saves it to the microphone, right? I think all the settings get saved.
Yeah, it does. And yeah, it does allow you also, once you plug in, to update firmware and things like that. So that this is the route to update firmware for the microphone. Is you plug in this Motive Studio software, it will recognise the microphone and say it needs an update, as mine did when I plugged it in today. And one of the other things we should probably mention while we're at it is, in my case certainly, all the microphones that I'm using which are connected to booms, the boom is just below me and out of sight, and I'm kind of speaking across the top of the microphone, not directly into the microphone. Speak across the top. That's what you should be doing with all these microphones, really.
It does sound good though, absolutely. And Val agrees. She says the mic sounds good, clean, clear on Martin's voice. There you go. It's that radio quality voice coming out again. All right, I'm going to switch over now to this. So you'll probably hear now that this is sounding a little bit more just by Martin's face alone. Can you tell which of these 3 microphones I'm actually using? So there's a little bit of a misconception that we talk about a lot with these microphones. The one I'm using right now is a Rode NTG4 Plus. It's a shotgun microphone, and it's a shotgun microphone that's designed really to be incredibly directional. So the idea is that this is used for films, it's used for sort of documentaries. You'll see people with a long boom arm pointing this microphone down at the people who you want to record. Now, I've seen a lot of YouTubers, myself included, have mounted these up here just out of frame because I don't necessarily like having microphones in the shot for YouTube videos. When I'm doing live stuff, it's a different thing altogether. Sometimes you can't get away with it, but what Martin's just shown is that little Shure microphone. And by the way, what's the price of that microphone? I think it's like 100 and something.
Oh, that's not.
It's not the cheapest.
That's going on for £200.
Oh right.
I would say. So it's not a cheap microphone.
like this one. So this Rode NTG4 Plus, I think, is 260 or something like that. But it's a dual microphone, meaning that it's actually, you can charge it. It's got a battery in it, and it's doesn't need phantom power if you don't need that. But it's actually connected via XLR as well, so you do need an audio interface to connect to this. Realistically, these are mainly used on film sets where you can do a lot of post-production as well, but they're very good in terms of direction. You know, you point them in one place and it's going to pick up the sound from there, but they're not necessarily the best thing, even in a treated room like this. My room is pretty echo-free, but you can still hear a lot of the room noise in there as well. And this microphone shouldn't be pointing directly at me. It's designed really to point here, where the voice is projected from the center of the chest, and that's where you'll see a lot of microphones pointing down at this area here. You see a lot of YouTubers use it. It's not terrible. I could easily EQ this and make it sound better post-production, but I typically wouldn't use it for a live stream. In a pinch, I might want to use it, but yeah, not necessarily all the time. So this is the Rode NTG4. It does have a few buttons on it as well. Passive control, so you can click on one of the buttons and it'll do a 70 hertz roll off. So if there's any rumble or sort of any low resonance noise in the desk, you can put that on and it'll do filtering inside of the microphone itself. Comes with a shock mount like this and a nice fluffy sort of, what's it called, dead kitten. But it's not something that I would typically use all the time. It's quite out of the way though. I mean, if I was to point it when Martin had his Shure microphone, I could probably get away with making it sound decent, but yeah, I wouldn't use it all the time, but I just thought I'd show it because I have it here. I've had it a very long time, and just showing the difference in quality of these cameras, quality in these microphones, because we want you to make sure that you are informed about what this sounds like and to make some sort of buying decisions, because you see these on YouTube and think, yeah, everybody's got one, I'm going to get one. It may not be right for you. And as you can hear, I don't think this sounds as good. This is a $250 microphone compared to the fine one that we had, which was just like $70 or $80. So big differences, but again, there's use cases for these microphones. I'm just looking at my list. What's next for... Oh, it's me. I'm still going. Oh, no. I have to switch over. Oh, that was good. That was good planning. Okay, so that's the... that's the Rode NTG4. I'm going to switch to you for a second, Martin, because I have to turn on this wireless mic behind me. So maybe you could just fill in for a few minutes while I just switch over.
So I'm going to change the running order slightly because that's back to the Shure MV88. And I'm now on the Shure SM7B, which they call it, I think, the microphone that you will have heard. And you will have seen it also now as well on a lot of shows. Quite often people have got different cover microphones on foam covers on the top of it. It's featured on just about every sports show that I've watched the World Cup on so far. So every time people are sitting down and being interviewed on the shows, then it's a Shure SM7B. Mine is the XLR version, which goes in via a little box called a Focusrite in my case, but it could be a much more complicated setup like Neil has got. But that does take phantom power, requires phantom power, but it gives you a very good radio quality microphone. Mine is on quite a heavy duty swing arm. Typically the gain is very low and you need to add in a cloud lifter, which is just a little inline device that boosts up the gain. But this microphone is something in the region of £300 plus £100 for a cloud lifter, plus another £100 for the Focusrite. But if you're only ever buying one microphone, which is the way I looked at it, I thought, well, I'll only go buy this once. It's worth, for me, spending the extra money and just getting the correct microphone. As I say, now I've mentioned this, you look out for that shape of microphone, and that will be all over everything that you see, from musicians to people being interviewed on the TV. They're everywhere, absolutely everywhere. They now do a cheaper version, which is kind of similar, but that's a USB version of the Shure microphone, and I actually think that doesn't sound that much different to this one. So I might had I had my time again, much like Neil mentioned earlier with the Holyland elements, I might have gone for the slightly cheaper USB version of the Shure microphone. Well, it's quite a lot cheaper actually, it's half the price. Just because it would have been plug and play USB. But now I've gone down this route and I've already got it. Not changing.
So Saeed has a question, and he said, do you think there's a real difference between the MV7 and the SM7B on Zoom calls? I would say no, because Zoom does audio processing, right, at the end of the day. And I think the MV7 is a great microphone, and it's half the price, I think, of the, or at least quite a lot off. You know, I've used those as well. As you said, the USB-C as well as XLR, so they're very, very easy to use, and the quality is very good. Very hard to tell the difference. And the SM7B does have a unique sound. That's why people like it. But I think you've got to have an audio interface that allows you to do some EQing as well, and compression and tweaking to get the best out of the microphone. There's a lot of plug-and-play microphones out there which are great, but yeah, I mean, the SM7B has a unique sound. A lot of people use them. Great for podcasting. And also for musicians, use them a lot as well for recording their vocals.
They do, and I think, Saeed, to pick on his point about Zoom calls as well, we're being a bit fussy here. What you also need to appreciate is how people are listening to you. If they're sitting there and they've got their Beats headphones on, they're going to hear everything, right? But if they're sitting and they're listening through the speakers on their PC or Mac, then they might be rubbish, the speakers. So actually the quality of your microphone doesn't matter quite as much at the top end. It does matter at the bottom end, because if you've got the Meet SE equivalent of a built-in webcam, it's still going to sound bad through your speakers. But could you tell a difference between those two Shure microphones through speakers on a standard Zoom call? I suspect not.
All right, I'm going to switch back now to what I was going to go to, and I can't remember what it is. Oh, it is. Let me just click over to this one. So this is the Rode Interview Pro. Let me just switch something off. I can hear myself twice. Let me just make sure it's not coming through there. What does this sound like to you? Is this too loud?
No, that sounds good, actually.
I think I'm hearing it through the speakers. Hang on a second. I think my speakers are playing up. I don't know, I can hear it twice. It sounds like there's a bit of an echo in here, or I'm getting some slapback from something and I can't work out why. Anyway, Interview Pro microphone. A lot of people have these because they are great for going to conferences and doing interviews. And the reason why they're great is there's a couple of things with these and I've done a full review on my channel, so if you want to have a look at it in depth, I'm not going to go into too much detail now. There's two things about this. One, it has onboard recording. So I don't need to connect it to anything. It's got 32-bit float recording on there, which means I don't need to do any EQing. I don't have to worry about levels. Whatever I'm speaking into with this microphone, it's going to sound really good. And then I just take it out from the audio file, put it into my mixer, and then do whatever I need to do later into Final Cut or something else. So that's the first thing, that it's onboard recording. And I think it's got up to 32 gig, which will last you like days. Battery life is very good as well. It lasts 2 to 3 days. I don't think I've charged this much ever since I got it. And then this works directly with the Rode wireless type of equipment. So whether it be the Rode Wireless Me or the Rode, I can't think what they're called now, the Rode Duo or the actual Rodecaster, then all these microphones will work with that. And it's a good way, because you can actually have 2 or 3 of these microphones connected to a mixing desk and have sort of completely wireless free type of recording. Again, used for conferences and things like that. Mark from Creative Amplifiers has also bought one of these because he does a lot of podcast recording outside as well, in terms of taking it on the road with him, so to speak. So again, not cheap. I think this retails for about, I don't have to look it up, $280, $290. I got a great deal a couple of years ago when it came out. But again, there's lots of deals out there at the moment. I wouldn't necessarily have this on my Zoom call unless you're presenting, or the type of person that Martin said before, where if you've got a big studio and you want to sort of rove around. If you see Alex Johnson doing some of his stuff in his new studio, then he has one of these. and he'll be sort of talking around with it as well. So again, it depends on the look that you're going for. And if you're doing interviews, it's fantastic because it's a great omnidirectional pattern. It's going to pick up people from both sides. So yeah, lots of interesting things you can do with this microphone. So that is the Rode Interview Pro. I think there's a couple of questions coming up. So Val
Brian
says,
has noticed there's music in the background.
there is.
As well.
There's a little. I'll turn it up. We always have a little bit of ambient music in the background there. Listening to my laptop, no headphones, so not a huge difference. Yeah. So to your point, Martin, not a huge difference when you're actually hearing this stuff through laptop speakers. But if you've got if you want to have this repurposed as a podcast, for example, then you're going to have to get yourself a decent microphone. And that's where people go wrong. They'll record basic microphones in Zoom, in Teams, and so on, then try and repurpose that, put that as a podcast, and it just sounds, well, it doesn't sound good at all, does it? Yes. Music playing in the background. Okay, I'm going to go to, it's all me again, isn't it? Because you've already exhausted all your microphones now. Okay, let me just...
So I only had 4.
Okay, I'm going to put this on mute, and I'm going to go to, which one I'm going to go to? This one. Okay, 1 second. Okay, hopefully you can hear me. Not too crazy loud, I hope. What I'm using now is the Elgato Wave Neo. This is Elgato's sort of basics entry-level microphone, and it's one that I've recommended quite a bit, and Martin recommends as well for like a starter kit. The reason why we recommend it is, one, it comes bundled with the Wavelink software, so you can really sort of dial in the sound, EQ it, put some compression on it as well. The other thing is it's super cheap. I think it's around $60, $70, something like that. Maybe it's more now. It's a condenser microphone, which means it needs a USB connection to feed the power to it. It's not dynamic. It's got a more bright pickup. So it is going to pick up more ambient noise in your room, of which I can't hear because I can't hear myself. All I can hear is the music. So I don't know if it sounds noisy to you, Martin, because you've got headphones on compared to the others. What's your thoughts on that? Is it noisy or?
I don't know that it's noisy, but I don't think it sounds quite as good as, for instance, even the Fifine one on the shock mount. I think it sounds like the room is a little more echoey, is the feeling that I get from that particular one.
Yes, yeah. And Saeed's got a good point, actually. It's all about the comparison, and it brings up a really good point. The Neo itself does sound pretty decent, but if you've heard all the other mics before, then you're going to really hear the comparison. I think it's why it's important that we did this comparison today, because one, it's fun to see how many things we could plug into our computers. And secondly, though, to give you a really good understanding of, like, it's okay listening to microphones in isolation, but when you bring them all together, and you can go back and watch this video on the replay, and I will put chapters in it, you can then just switch back and forth and really have a listen. Get some headphones on, and you'll be able to hear the wild differences between them. So anyway, this is the Elgato Neo. I quite like this microphone. And like you, Saeed, I think as a standalone microphone, it sounds good on its own. But when you start comparing it, it might not be the one for you. So Val says, this one doesn't sound as good. It thinned your voice a bit. The warmth has been removed. Yeah, and again, it's all about the characteristics. I haven't done anything with this microphone. There is no EQ on it. So what you're hearing is directly from the microphone. And when you heard Martin's MV88 Plus, that was a really good sounding microphone just out the box, like with no EQ or anything on it. So again, just depends. But from a convenience perspective, this is easy to plug in, just like the one that you have, Martin. The form factor is just a little bit bigger. It comes with a desk stand, but I mean, it costs like next to nothing to get a little desk stand for your microphone. All right, so that's that one. I'll mute this, and then I'll go over and switch to the last, I think it's the last microphone of the day. You'll all be happy to hear. Let me just move over to this. I can't find my input now. There's so many inputs. Right, 1 second. I've forgotten which one it is now. Hang on, I'm going to move that one out of the way. finally, this is the... Oh, be careful. This is the Rode... excuse me, I lose my voice. This is the Rode PodMic. This is the one that Rode push for doing podcasts. You'll see a lot of people online using these. This was a Christmas present many years ago. And let me know what you think. I'm just going to turn this other one off, actually, because it's in the background. All right, so this is a Rode PodMic. This is connected directly into the Rodecaster. Rode have got an actual setting for it. So in theory, this is the best it could ever sound because it's matched with the interface that Rode make as well. So it's a Rode microphone going into a Rodecaster. I'll move that out of the way. It's going to poke me in the eye in a second. Going into a Rodecaster. And let me know what you think in the comments. Right now, I think my voice sounds a little bit thinner than it did do on the Fifine cheap microphone. But this is a very robust microphone. If you want a microphone that is going to last you a long time, this is solid. It is heavy. It's made of metal, and yeah, it's. I think it's a great microphone. It's only XLR. There is a more expensive version that they brought out last year, I think, which is now XLR and USB. So you can have this form factor and this sound on a USB-based setting. But what do you think, Martin, compared to all the others?
I think I quite like the sound of that one. I think if I'm going to choose one, I'm going to say I like the Fifine with the shock mount as the preferred option out of these. But I think that one's very, very close to that.
Yeah,
as well.
It's a good sounding microphone. I don't have the Samson, unfortunately. The QU2, which apparently is a great microphone. It's similar, I think, to the SM58 in terms of the sound quality, which I don't know if I have an SM58 anywhere. I don't think so. I did do music for a long time. I was in bands. But obviously, Val has probably used an SM58 for most of her gigs. Maybe it's all wireless stuff now. Unfortunately, I don't know the Samsung. Have you ever heard the Samsung microphone that Saeed's talking about? You ever played with one? No.
No, I don't know about that. I know, of course, there is the famous Shure microphone, which is the solid. I think Chris showed us it on the show one. He's got half a dozen of them lying around, which is the indestructible roving microphone, which
Right.
you do see on everything from right back to the 60s, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember the name of that particular microphone, but that's another one which we should probably have tested at some point or other as well, just because it's so ubiquitous. But
Yeah.
I don't have one.
No, and the Samsung, quite rightly, people say it is the best budget pick. It is. It's decent. It just looks like a handheld microphone like this, for people who don't know. And it's just a handheld microphone. It's, I think it's USB. I want to say it's USB, or it might be both, but it's certainly USB, because that's what makes it cheap. And it sounds really good, apparently, from what I've seen on YouTube. The problem with YouTube is you don't actually know what EQ's been done afterwards. Like, we're doing a live show now, so we're trying our best to just give you the raw sound of the microphones without doing anything with them. But a lot of people will EQ things later after the fact and so on. So let me know in the comments. I should have done a big Streamer Live poll for this, but let me know in the comments, out of everything that you've heard so far, and you know the prices, because obviously the QR codes are there to get the prices and things. Which one would you pick, Martin, if you were starting off right now and you weren't sure about what microphone to get? Which one would you go for?
I think if I was starting out right now, the Shure MV7, which is their budget version of the SM7B, but it's half the price. It's nearer 200 than 400. I think that I'd be going that route and just plugging it in via USB, just because it's one less set of cables and routing and stuff like that to do. And the XLR cable is actually, anyone who doesn't know, they're quite a lot thicker than the standard USB type of cable, so you do need to route them properly. So I think I would probably go down that route. But as I say, you can also take the opinion of, you're only going to have to do this once. It seems ridiculous to me to try and scrimp and save 30 or 40 pounds here or there, or something along those lines, especially when you've got the Amazon Prime deals and Black Friday deals where you can get things £100 or £200 off. But this is something you're going to be using permanently if you're on live streams or Zoom calls or Teams calls. So you're going to use it all the time. So whatever you do, certainly don't buy a microphone that costs £30 rather than one that's £60 or £70. You know, and then there's the next leap up is really from that level up to approximately £200, where you could have the little Shure microphone, or you could have the one I've just mentioned, both around 200, and then the next one's another big jump up, isn't it, to 400-ish.
Yeah. Saeed's made a good point. So the MV7, they did replace it. I didn't realize. So it's just the MV7i, the MV7iX, or the MV7 Plus. So many different varieties on there.
7 Plus, isn't it, is the one, I think.
I think so, yeah. I mean, I think it's the same capsule. I think all they're doing is changing some of the electronics in there as well. And people do ask me all the time, what's the difference between a very expensive microphone and a very cheap microphone? And a lot of it is going into the quality of the electronics and the build, but also the rejection as well. Some of these really cheap microphones, as I mentioned, before they brought out this one, as I said, you tap on the desk and it would just, reverberate everywhere. So you do want, especially if you've got a desk mounted microphone, a lot of people have shock mount arms and things like that to do that. But if you're just doing standard Zoom calls, you just maybe want something like this, what Martin had before, on a little stand. And as long as you are conscious about not hitting the microphone, tapping it too much, then most of the sort of more expensive microphones have got much better noise rejection and handling noise. And if you go online and look at the reviews of your microphone that you may be wanting to buy, a lot of the good YouTubers, the audiophiles, will actually do a lot of what's it called? The noise rustling, where they'll just touch the microphone and start tapping it in different places, so you can actually hear how good it is at noise reduction and noise rejection, shall I say. So there's lots of things to be said. As Martin pointed out, don't necessarily go for the cheapest microphone. Saeed said it's often funny to see someone using a DSLR but talking into the built-in earpod mics. Yeah, you just spent $3,000 on a camera and you can't buy yourself a $60 or $100 microphone. Yeah, I've always said this, and we preach about it as well. Audio first. If there's something you need to buy, first of all, if you're just starting off, buy yourself a decent microphone. And if you are wondering about stuff to buy, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say just a funny story, which I have seen on a few occasions now, is that on TV shows you'll see a presenter sitting there and they'll have a really fancy looking 1950s microphone or something like that on their desk, typically all chromed up, and it looks really cool. Then you'll realise they've got a Holy Land Lark on or something. The microphone's just there as a prop. It's not doing anything at all, but it looks cool. So
yeah, it looks cool.
I wouldn't say don't do that, because it can look really cool if you've got this fantastic looking microphone from the 50s. Then stick it on your desk, and then nobody will notice. But apart from the people who put on the headphones and realise that they're not getting that warmth kind of glow that you get from those microphones.
And there's not only us that are Microsoft microphone obsessed. Go over to Tom Buck's channel and look at all the microphone testing he's been doing over the years. I think he's got like a collection on his shelf somewhere. It's ridiculous, the amount of microphones that he has. But if you are wanting to understand a little bit about what we do and some of the things in terms of getting yourself started, you can just download this free guide, which is, I call it the anti-overwhelm kit. It's basically just getting yourself set up. We do recommend the Elgato microphone. That was before we tested all these side by side. It's still a decent microphone. Maybe you want to get the Fifine now. But anyway, go back, look at this video, find out which microphone you want. Next week, I'm not going to be here. I realize that I'm actually out next week. And so is Martin. You're out as well. So there's going to be no live show next week, but there'll probably be one the week after. Dates to be sorted out. But come back, same time, same place. In 2 weeks' time, we'll be here doing something. Thanks for everybody that stopped by. I hope this has been useful to you, and hopefully you can get some deals with whatever's going on Prime at the moment. Happy hunting, and yeah, we'll see you on the next show. Until then, take it easy.
Cheerio from Edinburgh.